On this episode of Common Mystics, we welcome our friend Michelle Holland as we delve into the cosmic forces set to influence us this month. I'm Jennifer James.
I'm Jill Stanley.
We're psychics.
We are sisters.
We're common mystics. Usually we find extraordinary stories in ordinary places. But this month, we are looking at two major eclipses that are going to impact us in March of 2025.
Okay, but wait. Before we get to March, Michelle Holland, our lovely, lovely Michelle is here with us. Say hello.
Hi, everybody. How are you?
I was stressed.
Yes.
I feel like everything right now is already a shit show, right? So what's happening right now, and then how is it gonna change in the coming days?
Well, hold on. Before we get into that, hold that thought, Michelle, because
Okay.
Jill, I think we owe our listeners some sort of explanation because we are usually not this topical. You know what I mean? So give them an update on our lives and how we're, saving up on our next road trip, etc. What we have planned.
So, So personally,
So much. There's
so much happening. So personally, in Jen and in my life, we are just going through it. I don't know what else to say other than it shit's getting real. We're just a little stressed. We are going to. I don't know where you want me to take this, Jennifer.
Wherever you want to take it. This is just so outside the norm of what we're doing every couple weeks. So I just wanted a little explanation for people who might be listening and tuning in.
I think personally, our lives are a shit show. And we were like, okay. And then someone was like, March is going to be even worse. And we're like, whoa. And I'm like, if we're feeling this, I wonder if other people around the world are feeling the same chaotic, like the tower energy, like shit just be coming down.
Yeah.
And we wanted to reach out to Michelle for Michelle's explanation because you have a lot to answer for, Michelle.
None of this is Michelle's fault.
My fault at all. Okay.
Oh, and we're out of stories. We're out of stories.
No, we're not.
Don't
out of
lie.
stories.
Don't lie to the people, Jill.
Oh my God. Jennifer, okay, you guys, I found a story from our notes that we had taken like 3 years ago, but Jennifer doesn't like the story.
We're out of new stories from new notes. So we're going to Tennessee in a couple weeks. So hopefully we'll have more new destination stories. Okay, Jill, I didn't mean to insult you personally. It's not about you.
I have stories, but my point is I really liked my story, but you put a quash on it, so now it has to be next week's detour.
It's common mystics. I'm a mystic. You're a mystic. We have to give and take. It's not the Jill Stanley show.
All I'm saying is that next week on Detours, I have a story that we researched from notes long ago that is a story from 1980 that Jennifer did not feel comfortable with presenting on our regular feed.
Right, exactly. Okay. Sorry, Michelle. Sorry you had
Sorry, Michelle.
Sorry, Michelle. Okay, back to you. What the hell is going on?
Okay.
What the hell is going on now?
Right now. Okay. So Pluto went into Aquarius.
Right.
Which-
Didn't that start at the end of last year?
Yes. Started at the end of last year. Okay. So Pluto was in Capricorn, which I was happy with that going away because Capricorn is my sun sign. So that affected me for the last, 15 years. So now Pluto changed signs and it's in Aquarius. Okay. So Aquarius is about humanity. Like, so think of, think of the
I like
collective.
humanity.
Yeah, so do I.
I can take it or leave it.
I love humanity, but all of these structures are falling apart because of Pluto. So Pluto it is Tower, so it will wipe everything away and then restart. So
when you say Pluto is Tower, you mean the tarot card.
Yeah. So think of the tarot. That's
the worst tarot.
Big
That's
one.
the worst.
Yeah.
That is the worst tarot card in the deck.
And for those who don't know the tarot cards, Jill, describe what the pictures are on the Tower tarot card.
It actually reminds me of 9/11.
Yes.
You have a tower, flames coming out of people jumping out of. It's just the biggest chaotic, most horrible thing you can think of. That is the tarot card. What is the energy behind that card, Jennifer? Like I am being very flippant about it, but like as a real tarot reader, as you are, describe what you would tell a client if they had a tarot reading with the like a card being the tower.
Well, it's definitely, and Michelle, feel free to add to this, but the tower is all about change, obviously, but also dramatic and like complete, like burn it all to the ground. We're starting from scratch, right? Dramatic, total transformation.
Yeah.
And that can be scary.
Well, not only dramatic transformation, you can have a dramatic transformation, but this is dramatic transformation that you are not ready for, not prepared for. It's like someone's taken the rug from underneath your feet and you are falling. It's like not just transformation, but the most uncomfortable possible way to transform.
Right.
I would agree with that.
So it's like your house is burnt down. Now you have to start from scratch.
Right.
It might end up being a good thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be this, I mean, we think of things burning down and being torn apart and it's terrible. And in the moment, yes. But then in the end, when there's something new, something better, that's when we can see why the tower had to fall apart in the first place. So
I'm not there yet, but
yes.
I hear you. I like this Buddha view of the world right now, that it's something better is coming, but we're still like shit's still on fire right now.
Yes.
And I think still part of LA is on fire, I think. So
yes.
You know what I mean?
And
that's really happening.
Right. And this is affecting everyone. So when Pluto changes signs, it's going to affect everyone. Pluto is like the outermost planet, even though, it's not really a planet anymore,
Not a planet.
So it's in a sign for a very long time, and it will affect the whole, like everyone, the collective. It's going to affect a collective. So
it feels like Pluto knows that we were talking shit on Earth about it not being a planet, and now it's flexing.
Yeah, now it's like
what?
Yeah, I'm going to get you.
Mm-hmm.
I am some planet.
Thanks, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Right.
And it is, this move from Capricorn into Aquarius for Pluto is really the beginning of an age, because it's going to stay in Aquarius until 2044.
Yes, 2044. So it's going to be there a long time.
I can't do this for...
Well, usually the start and the end of Pluto is where things really start to shake up. So, think about when Pluto was in Capricorn. Like Capricorn is about the structures, you think government, you think boundaries. So think of everything that kind of fell apart with Pluto in Capricorn. Like, systems kind of falling apart, people kind of going against each other. And the last time Pluto was in Capricorn was when we first started talking about, like, when the United States first started talking about removing themselves from England and becoming our own country.
Oh my fuck.
Yes. So now that Pluto's in Aquarius, now this is the time when we made our Constitution. Like the United States created the Constitution. This is a time when Maria Antoinette was beheaded. This is a time when there was a French Revolution. We were still in the midst of war. Like the United States was still in the midst of the revolution during this time. So if you think about what's going on now, like there's a lot of shit going on in the government and with our structures, and really thinking about like humanity as a whole. Like, what do we want for the people? When we think of Aquarius, we're thinking of everyone. Like, what do we really want for the people?
I think talking about like the nation is something that a lot of people can relate to. But even on a personal level, I am seeing structures fall apart, like in my place of employment, structures are falling apart. And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just noticing it. I'm also seeing some of the people I know through my, relationships, and their like personal relationships, their family structures are falling apart. So yes, nationwide, for sure, we're seeing structures crumble. But also, I think if you look at a personal level, because we know that Pluto impacts everybody, right? Because of how slowly it moves in the sky. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out because it is on a global level, and you're looking at countries. But even if you look at your own life, you might be seeing this happen in different ways.
Right.
I think that that's a good point because people listening are going to make the assumption that we're talking about the shit show that is like the politics of the world right now.
Okay.
But I'm very, very clearly like, yes and yes and yes. But personally, fuck. Like my own life is like, oh my God, right now.
So think about like the group, because Aquarian, like that Aquarius energy is all about the groups. So think about the groups you're in, your work group, your, friend group, family group, like, so those groups, think about that. Like, I feel like every single group that I've been a part of has fallen apart. And now there needs to be a change. Something needs to happen so that these things are fixed. So I feel like right now it's the beginning. So we're in the beginning stages where everything is just collapsing, falling apart. But it's what can we do to not, because the Aquarian is the humanitarian. They want to help. They want to make things better. What can we do, either on a personal level or, global level? Like, what can we do to change, to make things better?
And as Pluto stays in Aquarius, and Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but Aquarius brings energy of thinking outside of the box, right?
Yes.
Like innovation, technology.
Yes.
So
very
this
futuristic, very like a lot of times, like with people that are Aquarians, like when your sun sign or your rising sign is Aquarius, you have these ideas that no one would ever think of. Like, and then people are like, you're crazy. We can't do that. And then, then it happens and you're like, wow, like I never thought that would happen.
Right. So I think some of this that we're feeling is that change from stable Capricorn, which is like you said, all about structures and solidity and kind of breaking down those structures so we can truly move into the age of Aquarius, which is thinking outside the box, innovation, new ideas. So literally, Jill, I know you're like rubbing your brow. This has to happen to move forward.
Think of AI, like AI itself, like that's like
crazy.
An Aquarius kind of idea. Like, and I mean, ever since Pluto went into Aquarius, it's like AI is like everywhere, like,
you're right.
So what is going to happen in the future with that? We don't know. It's just going to get, bigger and better and hopefully
help serve humanity, right?
Right.
All right. So when I was thinking about what to talk about today, I did, a quick search on some astrology sites to try to figure out, like, this year, we knew this year was going to be a transitional year because of Pluto. And as I was researching, I found a few different sources that indicated that March was the most jam-packed month of the year in terms of astrological events.
Okay, you guys, Jennifer literally found an article that she sent to Michelle and I that if you weren't already feeling a little iffy about things, it says buckle up for a wild ride because March may be the most eventful month of 2025.
Yeah, and the one that we actually read for this talk, Jill, is called Big Changes Are Coming, What the March 2025 Eclipses Have in Store. And this one is by Tamari Adder. Both are from astrology.com. They have a lot of articles on that site. But in particular are two major eclipses. Michelle, can you take us through the eclipses?
On March...
I just want to say that for Lent, am giving up drinking. So this is literally going to be like the worst the absolute worst time for me
But
and for my sister
yeah,
by proxy.
Okay, Michelle, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, talk to us
Okay.
about these eclipses.
Okay. On March 14th, there is a lunar eclipse in Virgo. Okay. So that lunar eclipse, when there's a lunar eclipse, we think of more things happening internally. Okay,
Okay.
so we have a lunar eclipse. So this is going to affect us internally. And eclipses are, it's going to bring change. So any
Okay.
eclipse will bring change. So, and sometimes, that's uncomfortable. So think of like internal changes. So stopping, you're not going to drink anymore. That would be more
Mm.
internal. Okay.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Just to clarify. Okay. So a lunar eclipse happens when the
Sun is
the sun comes between. No, the sun could never
The
come
sun
between the
is
earth and the moon.
directly opposite from the moon. So the sun is on one side of the earth, the moon is on the other side of the earth.
So the moon
So,
is eclipsed by the shadow of the earth.
yes.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for that reminder.
Okay. So, and this eclipse is also right on one of the nodes. So it's on the south node. So there's a south node and a north node. And this is just a point in the sky where the moon will intersect like the orbit of the sun. So
Okay.
that's the best way I can describe it. So they're just like points that are in the sky. So this lunar eclipse is right on the south node. South node
Hmm.
is where we're more comfortable. South node, like when we think of the nodes, there's a north node, a south node. North node is more like our lesson for this life. South node is where we've already learned in another life and kind of like what we want to get rid of because we're comfortable there. So think of like how like my north node, I am not comfortable like that's in Capricorn. I am not comfortable being the leader like Capricorn, like work, I'm not comfortable there. That's where I'm at my best. My south node is in Cancer. So when something happens to me, my first reaction is cry and get emotional and and then people don't listen to me then. Like then I'm
Mm.
like, why isn't anyone, why doesn't anyone care? Well, but then when I take that leadership role and I like take charge, that's when things actually get done and things happen for me. So
I care,
this
Michelle.
I so this south node, okay, so because the eclipse is a lunar eclipse and the sun is opposite the moon. So we've got the moon in is in sorry, the lunar eclipse is in Virgo. The south node is in Virgo. Virgo is all about like the little details. Like Virgos are very meticulous. They like, like your day-to-day life. They like to put things in order. They like things to like come together. So it's about health, like diet. So when that eclipse happens, you might start thinking about like internally, like how can I change my life? What details? What about my day-to-day life needs to change or it's going to change because of this eclipse? And how can I handle this? What can I do? What little things can I do throughout the day to make this better? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how long does eclipse energy usually last?
So we're going to go full moon and then to the next new moon. It's the opposite because the solar eclipse is the opposite. So
Okay.
full moon, usually it's something ending. So, I think, okay, like you're going to stop drinking. Okay, that's going to end. Your health is going to get better. Like that's Virgo. Like, like what can
Yeah.
you do day to day? To, what little details can you change? What can you change in your life? And it's going to affect your health. It's going to affect, it's going to affect your day to day overall. If you're,
Mm-hmm.
so what little changes can you make? And then, so we go full moon. And then what I'm looking at now is what is her name? Tiffany Haralick, I believe. Like she has a calendar and she's saying December 11th, 2025, the last quarter moon, this will go until then. So it's not the next eclipse. but the next,
Oh.
and then that's when you get your closure.
So you're saying that according to this Tiffany chick,
Yes,
this energy is going to stick around for most of the year.
yes.
Wow.
So I
That's
usually,
significant.
Wait,
yes.
hold on. Wait a second.
So I think it's different in
According,
the article.
well, no, my
Okay.
question to you does it stick around until the next eclipse? Because the next
No.
eclipse is on the, this is what's, this is what's crazy. Okay. So the storm moon lunar eclipse is the 14th. The new moon solar eclipse is the 29th.
Right. So that's a different energy.
That's a different eclipse altogether.
Yes. So
But this energy of the full moon lunar eclipse is going to stay with us for a year.
it's
Until
going
the
to
end of the
stay
year.
with us until December 11th, 2025. The last quarter moon is in Virgo, 20 degrees in Virgo. That's
Got it.
when we get the
That's
okay.
closure.
So this is significant.
Right. This energy started September 15th, 2023. So it's like a cycle. So
It's a big
I can
rhythm.
totally see that.
yeah. And, I am not as familiar with like cycles like this, but Tiffany, I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Haralick, I think it's Harelick. Like she has these moon cycles. So this was a 2.5 year cycle. So September 15, 2023 was when it began. June 14, 2024 was when like you're supposed to take action. With the eclipse, the full moon eclipse, this is more is revealed, and then she says pivot then commit. So if you
Mm.
started this cycle in September 15, 2023, and it's not going exactly how you want, then you need to pivot and like really put your commitment into whatever intention you set then.
So, Jennifer, in context of our pod, 2023 September is when we were approached to do the book with Melissa.
Mm-hmm. That sounds right.
I think so.
So if there's something that you need to commit to right
And maybe-
now, this is,
maybe a year
like
before.
the change.
It may be the year before.
Yeah, I think we did
Yeah.
our presentation that September 2023.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like we need to pivot.
We do need to pivot for sure.
We do need to pivot for sure. Okay, perfect.
So, should we go through the different sun signs and just really quickly give them categories of life that this eclipse is going to impact? Like really quick?
So,
Or is that not helpful?
well, in the article, it has the different areas, but that's really, you really need to look at your own chart to really see where it impacts. So I looked at all three of our charts, and
Oh.
I don't
Oh,
think
bless you,
I
child.
do not think one of them lined up with what it said, only because it really depends on where that sign lands in your chart.
So reach out to your local astrologers,
Yes.
listeners.
Or
I know Michelle Holland.
or just like if you have a chart, look at where, so it's a 23 degrees Virgo. So if you look at a chart, it will have numbers by the moon. It will say 23 degrees. So just look at where that is in your chart. So
The 23 degrees.
the 23 degrees, and you'll even see in your, if you can get a transit chart, you will see the moon on there with Virgo. So, but if you look at your chart, just look at where Virgo lands. So, in Jennifer's chart, it's in the second house. So you can just kind of see where that Virgo
What does
sign
that mean?
is.
What's the
So
second house?
second house has to do with finances, what you value. So anything that's of value to you. So that doesn't necessarily have to mean money. Okay. Like second
Yeah.
house is things that you have. So, when I think second house, I think of like possessions and what makes you feel good. What do you value? So there could be some kind of change or somewhere you need to make a change in something that you value, and it's going to be internal. So these are internal values.
Okay.
Michelle, my 23 degrees is at the line between house 12 and 11.
Okay, so in your chart, it is showing me for the
Guys,
lunar,
just
it's in the
wait.
third house.
For the lunar is in the third house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So third
Okay.
house is how you think and communicate. And it's also has to do with siblings and
I can't with them already. I cannot. They're like honestly.
because that's Gemini. So third house, is Gemini. So think of, anything that comes in
Oh.
pairs. Do you see it at the bottom? You've
Yeah.
got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stuff like both, like everything opposite this moon. So it's like crazy on the opposite side of the chart for everybody. So on the opposite side of the sky, there is so much stuff going on with planets. Like there are 7 planets or asteroids that are very significant that are just all like bunched up together. And that's going to affect a lot of people too. Because there's a ton
Okay.
of planets in Pisces and there's a ton of things going on in Aries.
Okay.
So that's where I would look in
Oops.
everybody's chart too, because Pisces is, I mean, Saturn is in Pisces, the Sun is in Pisces, Neptune is in Pisces.
Right
Um,
now.
right now, um,
Okay. Yeah. There's a
Venus
lot.
is going from Aries, going retrograde into Pisces. What else? There's the other Mercury is in Aries going retrograde into Pisces. So like anything Aries, Pisces, so which are very different.
On the 15th. So we're going to have the full moon, the lunar eclipse on the 14th. And then the 15th, hold on, guys, because now we have Mercury in retrograde.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from you, to put a button on it, for the energy surrounding the storm, moon, lunar eclipse, that people are going to be affected personally about the way they are either living their life, or they're going to have to make decisions that will make small changes in their everyday life.
Yes.
And
So
so
this
I want to get
this could be really subtle too. It doesn't have to be this huge thing, but you might just start thinking, "Oh, I need to start doing this. I need to make this change."
So I want to say this. There's an actress that was on Oprah, and she was the sister on, I think, Growing Pains, Tracy Gold. And she was at a party, and she was drinking or whatever, and her husband got too drunk to drive. And the husband was supposed to be the designated driver. So she was like, well, he's too drunk. And then she was like, you know what? I shouldn't drive. And she was like, just do it. You're fine, whatever, just do it.
She said that to her husband?
To herself. She was
Oh,
like,
Right.
he's a shit show. We have to get home. We have to
right.
get the kids. Like,
Okay.
I'll just do it. So she tries to like sober up a bit, and then something was like, you really shouldn't be, like, maybe you should wait a little longer at this house. And she's like, no, I'm fine. And she told it to herself. Then she gets in a car accident. And she gets, like, everyone's fine, but she gets a DUI. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that that's how the energy that you're describing, like, you already know that a change needs to be made.
Yes.
It's already like kind of hitting at you, and you just don't want to make that change. So this energy in this year is, if you don't make that change for yourself, shit's going to burn down, and that change is going to be made for you.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. And just what you're saying with the retrogrades, like when you're thinking like retrograde energy, so the Venus and Mercury retrograde, like, Mercury retrograde is like 3 times a year. So, you can't like stop your life 3 times a year, but you do need to start thinking things like, okay, my thought was I shouldn't do this. Like, then maybe you shouldn't. So when
Right.
you think of these retrogrades, like Venus is more about, again, what you value, your relationships. Like it's not a time to really, break down the house, you know what I mean? And like bust everything open. Mercury too, but you do need to like reflect, review. Like whenever there's a retrograde, you think those reorganize, review, reflect,
Recycle.
recycle. Just start thinking those things. So if you're reflecting on something and it's saying, no, I shouldn't do this, then maybe you shouldn't. Or if you're like really thinking about something and saying, yeah, I should, then maybe you should. Especially like there's that, since it's going from Pisces to Aries, Pisces, those retrogrades. So
Hmm.
Pisces is very, like this is when where your emotions flow. But when it's retrograde, you might not really, it's going back. So you're like
Hmm.
reflecting on where those emotions went before. Or
What's going into Aries?
so the Venus and Mercury are both going from because they're retrograde. Venus went retrograde on the 1st, and Mercury
Okay.
is the 15th. So they started out both in Aries. They're going back into Pisces, and then when they start moving forward, they're going from Pisces into Aries again.
So we're
So
basically chasing our tail cosmically.
yeah, because Aries is all about like, let's start, let's begin, let's go. So you might start something and then all of a sudden feel like it's not going anywhere because you're kind of like going backwards. But that's a time when like, let's reflect, let's review, like, is this going to work? Should I do this? What can I do to move this along? And then when it gets into Pisces, that's more of a time when things because Pisces is more the end of it is the end of the zodiac. It's the 12th
Hmm.
sign.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Aries is the beginning. So when you're going back, now you're kind of like, okay, now I'm like, you might really feel like you're going backwards,
Mm.
Right.
because that's more, thinking about the past and thinking about, emotionally how you feel, where Aries is more fire, let's go, let's do it. Where Pisces is more, let's sit back, let's reflect, let's dream, let's, romanticize. So,
So, based on what you're saying and the article that Jennifer cited earlier, if you are an Aries sun rising, you may be experiencing or there may be a change transpiring in your life around daily routines, coworkers of health. In Taurus, your romantic life, if you have a Taurus sun sign or your Taurus rising, your romantic life may have a change to it, your creativity, or there may be a change with your kids.
that,
Gemini,
just to stop, because so if you're looking at your own chart, that's really seventh house. So even if, they're saying that it's Taurus, if you are a Taurus, it might actually affect the sixth house or the eighth house, depending on where Taurus falls. Okay.
and the sixth or the eighth house, you want to describe those houses?
Sure. So eighth house is like really going like deep emotions, it's contracts, it's dealing with things that are more secretive, things that you don't want to show people, sexuality.
Oh.
Ooh, slut.
Yeah. Because it's like the secrets, like things you hold deep.
Okay.
Okay. Ninth house is more, this is about long distance travel. This is about spirituality again, like anything that's like expansive, that's going to expand your mind. So learning that expands, like college learning, like where you're going
Hmm.
to become an
Yeah.
expert, like more philosophy, spirituality in that sense, where you're expanding. So long distance travel, anything that's like far, like expanding.
And Geminis, if you're a Gemini sun or a Gemini rising, your home, family, ancestry may be feeling some changes. So let's move on to the Aries new moon solar eclipse.
Which is kind of redundant because a solar eclipse only happens during a new moon.
Yes. So this is when they're right.
Interesting.
It's like they're
Hmm.
conjunct. It's like they're, the moon is in front of the sun.
So it
So
has to be dark because
yes,
the
Yeah.
sun is behind it.
right. So the solar eclipse is
Hmm.
on, what is it, the 28th,
Yep,
24th?
The
March
20,
28th.
28th.
29th.
Sorry,
29th.
March 29th, and that is in Aries. So now that it's a solar eclipse, so think lunar eclipse, you're reflecting, like this is more emotional, more inside. Solar is like bringing light to things. And like
Hmm.
it's like,
Mm.
shining bright. So think of what needs to be like shone a light on. Again, there's going to be change. Um, so, and the solar eclipse is going to be in Aries.
Mm-hmm.
So, right? Solar
Right.
eclipse in Aries. So,
9 degrees in Aries.
yes. So, if you look at where 9 degrees in Aries is in your chart, that is the area that is going to affect you the most. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
Aries is where we start. It's that spark. Okay. So Aries is like the leader. It's the one that runs into battle. So, sometimes there's arguments when we have, solar eclipses in Aries. Sometimes, there's a big explosion, but then Aries is like big explosion and then like
I feel like
calm
Jennifer
down.
and I shouldn't talk for the month of March. I'm just calling it now. Like
But
for sure.
if you know what energy is coming, you can kind of, work with it. Although every time the moon is in Aries, I swear I get in a fight, like an
Mm.
argument with someone every single time. But I know it's coming. So, but there might be a change where you need to like start something. You need to begin because that's Aries is the beginning of the zodiac.
Mm-hmm.
So think of that first spark of inspiration. You might have the spark of inspiration where it might change what you're doing. Okay.
Mm,
Aries can be impulsive. So maybe instead of being impulsive, like really think about, okay, maybe I need to slow down before I start changing this. But,
Mm.
and Aries is more into themselves, into their ego, into, you know, what they want. So when we're thinking about that solar eclipse, just think about, okay, things that are beginning, like where do you want to start something, like, and
Mm-hmm.
change that? Where do you want to, because I think of Aries as that one that runs into battle. Like, where do you want to fight? Where do because fighting isn't always has have to be bad. Like, where
Mm-hmm.
do I want to put all that fire energy?
So the solar eclipse energy. Now you said the lunar eclipse energy is going to last until December. How long are we going to be experiencing this heightened change of the solar new moon
Okay, so let me
eclipse?
look at my. Can I find it? The 28th, right?
I have the 28th.
I have the 29th.
Yeah, it
It depends on where you
depends.
are in the world.
Yeah, so I think here, like in, where we are, it's the 29th, starting at 6 a.m. So
Okay.
okay, so this energy is starting on the 29th. Okay. And then, so this is a new 2.5 year cycle. Again, this is according to Tiffany Harlick. So this is where you're going to begin. So set your
Mm-hmm.
intentions. Then on December 27th, 2025, this is the first quarter moon at 6 degree Aries. Take action. This is when you should take action. So
So you're really just planning at this
you're
point.
kind of planning,
Planning.
setting your attention. This is what I
Okay.
want.
All
Then
right.
in December 27th, then you're
That's when you
taking
act.
action.
Right.
September
Okay.
September
So
26th, 2026, more is revealed. That's when you pivot and commit. And then June 27th, 2027 is when the last quarter moon. And so this is when you get closure or resolution or it's
2 years
complete.
later, two and
So
a half
June
years later.
27th, 2027. Mhm.
Wow.
so I'm using Llewellyn's Witch's Date Book for 2025,
Okay.
and I'm probably saying it wrong.
No, I think you
I'm
said
not.
it right. It's just cute that you have your date book open.
Well, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, to Michelle's point, the full moon in the date book, there is a little poem about asking in the time of the full moon, under the light of a full moon, for nature and for the air and the elements and to spirit to come to you with what you need to know. And then that can help you pivot to the new moon on the 29th, saying, okay, now this is what I got from that meditation. This is what the wind told me on the full moon. With that information, what can I plan? What do I need to plan to address what the full moon had told me? And then you can start making action at the full moon and then on into April. You see what I'm saying? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Hmm.
So yeah. So I always think new moon, new beginning. That's when you set your intention, you make your plan, And then not that you don't take action until December 27th, but I think that's when you really, really go at it, like now,
Mm-hmm. You
because
got momentum.
yes, you have momentum. This is when things are going to start taking off. And then,
So
then in September 2026, then that's when, okay, now I realize, oh, I didn't do this, this, and this. Okay, now this is what I need to do. Let's really commit to it. And then in June 2027, that's when things come to completion.
So, Jennifer, this episode is going to drop on Thursday the 6th. The 13th, do we have a meditation? Or is that a boo review?
A meditation.
Because I think we should create a meditation, and I'll do it. I'll create it, and you can do it and make changes to it, to ask in the light of the full moon for spirit to come to you with what you need to know about creating that intention during the new moon. Wouldn't that be nice?
Sure.
Just in time. Just in time. I'll write it. You read it.
Okay. It's a plan.
Teamwork.
We're not going to fight.
We may fight.
But not now.
We may fight.
But you
Offline.
Yeah.
We'll fight offline.
What's funny is that we've been fighting this whole time, and just to keep this in, Brian is a saint because he edited all of it out. So you folks didn't get to hear it. It's true.
Michelle, thank you so much for your insights on all of this. My big takeaways are that it feels like it's time to release what is no longer serving us in our lives, right? In our personal lives, so that we can make space for new opportunities that are coming our way. And if we're going through something tough, which a lot of us are, remember everything is cyclical. Like you've just been talking us through. Everything is cyclical. This too shall pass.
Exactly.
Michelle.
Yes.
It feels like the universe, in my perspective, is Marie Kondoing my life, being like, what do you need? What don't you need? In the harshest of ways. And then after that happens, it's going to leave room for something else wonderful to take its place.
I believe that 100%. So and you have to, because so much, I don't know how many people I know where their life is literally falling apart. Like
Seriously.
things are completely changing for them in ways that they would have never thought. But I do think that, looking toward the future, that's the Aquarius, looking towards the future, good things are coming. Things will get better. March is going to be intense. There is so much going on.
I do want to say that I feel like there is a sense of community popping up around these like different disasters, like in LA, Pasadena, Altadena. They're coming together as a community to take care of one another. I see different types of communities. And I know this is terrible, but even on my way to the hotel today from work, there are people protesting. Like they're like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like coming out together and building a community in whatever their belief structure may be. But it does feel like there are troops rallying around some of the horrible things happening in the world. Even my personal life, I feel like I feel very connected to my friends and my family, and they're being very supportive of me. So
I agree. And think of what you just said. I think of Mr. Rogers. Like when like things, seem like they're falling apart, look for the helpers. Look for the people that are helping, because we tend to look at the negative and, oh my God, this is all happening. It's a disaster. But look at all these people that are helping, like you said. Look at how things are like people are coming together and trying to make changes for the better.
Is there a high note that either of you want to share about something positive that is happening in your lives? Because I feel like I just cried for myself for like an hour with you. I can say that I have the best puppy dog in the whole world. I am excited about my niece's wedding and traveling with Jennifer and getting new stories. Jennifer, there's something happening in your life that you want to be happy for?
I'm ready for change. I'm ready for growth. I've started working in meditation a little more regularly. So I feel like I'm getting myself in the right, literally in the right space of mind, for lack of a better word, just to prepare myself for what's coming. But yeah, I'm ready.
Michelle, is there something you want to share?
So,
A high note?
okay. So work-wise, last year my work was a disaster. This year I'm in a different place, same job, different place. And I feel that the people I'm surrounded by are very positive, that it's just a completely different feel, like completely different vibe where I can go into work at least and be relaxed, where usually that's not the case. So, so I'm like, work is my happy place now. What is this? That just seems so wrong. And Jennifer and I planned a trip for
Oh,
the summertime. So we're going to Oregon. So that will be fun.
That's so
yeah. That
exciting.
would be fun.
Yes. So those are some good things.
Thank you so much for sharing with us your time and your insight. And I would just recommend for everyone remembering that what you focus on grows in your life and you draw to you. So try to, even when everything, and believe me, I'm in it with you. When everything's shitty, just stop and think, what am I grateful for in this moment? And just kind of check yourself. Like I'm literally having to Caesar Milan myself after I get off this call. I'm going to pray and say, I'm grateful for this and this and this, because no matter what, we always have an opportunity for growth. So I'm really talking to myself and saying this out loud, but I just wanted to share it because I feel like I've been dogging myself in this hour. So,
Michelle, if people want an astrological reading or a tarot reading or a mediumship reading and they want to reach out to you, where can they reach you?
So they can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Mystical Minds, or they can email me at Michelle, Michelle, at mysticalminds.net.
All right. Thank you again. It was lovely
Thank
talking
you.
with you.
Thanks, guys.
Love you, Michelle.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Want more mystics? Check out our website, commonmystics.net. Find us on Facebook and all our socials at Common Mystics Pod. Please considering sponsoring us on Patreon. We have a plethora of benefits when you do, so please check out our website or Patreon /Common Mystics for more information there. And thank you guys so much for always supporting us and listening.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been a Common Mystics Media production. Editing done by Yokai Audio, Kalamazoo, Michigan.